Welcome back to Prepper's Edge. Let's be real, most prepping channels won't touch this topic. It's not flashy, it's not glamorous, and it doesn't sell survival knives or tactical backpacks. But here at Prepper's Edge, we don't prep for likes, we prep for survival. And when the grid goes down, the taps run dry and the toilets stop flushing, the real killer steps in. Not bullets, not starvation, filth, disease. The silent, slow rot that creeps into your camp, your clothes, your food, your family. In this deep dive, we're tackling the dirty truth about hygiene and sanitation in a total collapse. Because if you're not prepping for this, you're not ready. You've seen me tackle jungles, deserts, mountains, but the real jungle starts when the grid goes down. Forget lions and tigers and bears, oh my. We're talking about an enemy that's silent, invisible and everywhere. An enemy that takes no prisoners and thrives in chaos. This is the one enemy you can't outrun, outfight or outsmart. This is about the silent killer in a collapsed disease. We're diving deep into the survival skill nobody talks about, but everyone needs: hygiene. Because in a world gone sideways, staying clean isn't about comfort, it's about survival. So buckle up, grab your hand sanitizer, and get ready to learn how to stay alive when the world goes to, well, you know. Picture this. The taps run dry, the toilets stop flushing, and the trash is piling up faster than a bear after hibernation. The air, once filled with the hum of civilization, now carries the stench of decay. This isn't some dystopian nightmare, it's the reality of a world without rules, without infrastructure, without hygiene. And that's when it begins, not with a bang, but a smell, a rash, a fever that chills you to the bone even in the midday sun. Then, silence. The kind of silence that settles over a community after loss. This isn't about zombies or raiders, this is about the invisible enemy that takes no prisoners. Disease doesn't wait for bullets, it doesn't care about your ammo, stockpile, or your bug-out bag. It doesn't discriminate. In a grid-down world, this is what takes most people out. Not gunfights, not starvation, but filth. It's the grime under your fingernails, the contaminated water you didn't boil, the flies feasting on... Well, you get the picture. This is the harsh reality, and ignoring it won't make it go away. Think this is an exaggeration? Let's talk facts, people. Look at history. It's littered with the consequences of poor hygiene. Remember the 2010 Haiti earthquake? Mother Nature unleashed her fury, but it was the cholera outbreak that followed that decimated the population. Or take a look at refugee camps across the globe. Dysentery, skin infections, lice outbreaks. These aren't just inconveniences, they're death sentences when resources are stretched thin and hope is running low. Now imagine that on a global scale. In a true SHTF scenario, there's no doctor on speed dial, no pharmacy stocked with antibiotics, no backup plan. You're it, your health, your responsibility. And let me tell you something, you don't have to be starving to die in a collapse, you just have to be dirty. This is the hard truth every prepper, every survivor needs to etch into their minds. We talk a lot about fortifying our homes, our communities, but what about the most important fortress of all? Your body. It's the ultimate survival machine, but even the toughest machine needs maintenance. Let hygiene slip and things go south fast. We're talking skin infections that fester and spread, turning a scratch into a life-threatening situation. Open sores that weep and ooze, inviting every bit of bacteria in a 5-mile radius. Diarrhea that drains your body of fluids faster than you can say dehydration. And don't even get me started on trench foot. Imagine the worst socks you've ever worn, soaked in swamp water and left to fester for days. That's trench foot, and trust me, it's as bad as it sounds. And if you think that's bad, consider the lice and scabies crawling through your filthy clothes, making a home in your hair. These aren't just inconveniences, they're debilitating, deadly, and entirely preventable. So the taps are dry, no problem. We improvise, we adapt, we overcome. Ever heard of a solar shower? It's as simple as a black garbage bag filled with water left to bake in the sun. Boom, hot shower. Or how about a good old-fashioned rag bath? Heat some water over a fire, grab a rag and get scrubbing. You'd be surprised how much cleaner you can get with a bit of ingenuity, and don't underestimate the power of ash. Mix it with a bit of water and you've got yourself a surprisingly effective scrub. It cuts through grease, grime and bacteria like nobody's business. Vinegar, my friends, is your new best friend. A simple vinegar wipe down can kill fungus and bacteria. And remember, rotate your clothes and let them dry completely before wearing them again. Moisture is the enemy. If your socks are damp, you're on the clock. Right, when the grid goes down, one of the first things you'll be asking is, where do I go when nature calls? Believe me, in a survival situation, proper sanitation can be the difference between life and a very unpleasant end. First up, let's talk about the lone wolf option, the survival bucket toilet. Find yourself a sturdy 5-gallon bucket. Those heavy-duty ones are ideal. You're going to want a good seat lid for this, something you can sit on comfortably. Trust me, you don't want to be perched on a bucket like a scared bird when you're trying to do your business. Now, here's the crucial part. Double bag that bucket with heavy-duty bin liners. We're talking 2 layers of protection against leaks and spills, and for the love of all that is holy, add carbon material, sawdust, ash, crushed leaves, anything that can help absorb moisture and mask the smell. This isn't just about being polite, it's about keeping flies away and stopping the spread of disease. After every use, cover that bucket like it's a pot of gold. When it's full, you've got 2 options. Bury it deep, at least a good few feet down, or if it's safe, burn it. Just remember, never bury it near your water source. You don't want that contamination seeping into your drinking water. Ideally, rotate your disposal areas, or even create a designated waste pit with a good layer of lime or ash at the bottom. Now, if you're in a group situation, maybe you've got a family or a community to think about, a latrine is the way to go. This is about more than just personal comfort. It's about protecting everyone around you. Remember, disease doesn't discriminate. You'll need to dig a trench, at least 2 feet deep and a foot wide. Location is key here, folks. Keep it a good distance away from your water source and food prep area. This is about creating a clear sanitary boundary, a line in the sand between your living space and waste disposal. Every time you use the latrine, cover your business with a good layer of ash or dirt. This is essential for minimizing odors and keeping the flies away, and make sure you mark the latrine clearly. You don't want anyone stumbling across it accidentally, especially children. This latrine, it's more than just a hole in the ground. It's a disease line. Treat it with respect, keep it clean, and you'll be taking a major step towards staying healthy in a crisis. Remember, in a survival situation, sanitation is king. We've talked about dealing with waste, but hygiene goes way beyond just toilets. Your body is your first line of defense against the invisible enemies, bacteria and viruses that thrive in these situations. Trust me, you do not want to be caught out in the wild with a raging skin infection or a nasty bout of dysentery. Without proper hygiene, your skin can turn against you. Sweat, dirt and bacteria build up, leading to infections, sores and rashes. And believe me, scratching those open wounds with dirty hands is a one-way ticket to a world of pain. We're talking about infections that can spread quickly, especially in hot, humid conditions. Then there's the dreaded diarrhea. This isn't just about discomfort, folks. Diarrhea dehydrates you at an alarming rate, leaving you weak, vulnerable, and unable to function. In a survival situation, dehydration can be a death sentence. And let's not forget about trench foot. Keeping your feet dry is crucial. Damp socks, especially in cold weather, are a breeding ground for bacteria. This can lead to painful sores, infections, and in extreme cases, even amputation. Remember, moisture is the enemy. If your socks are damp, you're on the clock. Now, you might be thinking, Bear, how am I supposed to stay clean without running water? Don't worry, I've got you covered. There are plenty of ways to maintain good hygiene, even in the most basic of conditions. One option is a solar shower. It's simple, really. Just fill a black bag with water, leave it out in the sun to warm up, and voila! You've got yourself a makeshift shower. Hang it from a tree branch and let the warm water wash away the grime. Another method is the classic rag bath. Heat up some water over a fire or stove, soak a cloth in it, and give yourself a good scrub. It's not a luxury spa treatment, but it'll do the trick. Remember, Focus on key areas like your armpits, groin and feet. For a more heavy-duty clean, mix some ash with water to create a paste. Ash is a natural antiseptic and will help remove dirt, oil and bacteria. Vinegar is another great option, a natural antifungal and antibacterial agent. Soak a cloth in vinegar and use it for wipe-downs. And for God's sake, change your clothes regularly and let them dry completely before wearing them again. Moisture trapped against your skin is a recipe for disaster. Remember, staying clean is about more than just looking good. It's about staying alive. Now let's talk about hygiene products. You're not going to have access to your fancy supermarket shelves after a collapse. First up, soap. Believe it or not, you can find soap substitutes in the wild. Soapwort root, for example, contains natural saponins that create a lather when mixed with water. Yucca root is another option. And if you can find horse chestnut, the conkers, crush and soak them in water to create a soapy solution. Toothpaste, too, can be made from scratch. Mix some wood ash with water for a simple abrasive cleaning agent. Baking soda and salt also work wonders. And if you're feeling adventurous, try chewing on neem sticks, dogwood or licorice root. These natural ingredients have antibacterial properties that can help keep your teeth clean. Remember those essential oils I mentioned earlier? Well, they come in handy here too. Add a few drops to your homemade cleaning solutions for a refreshing scent and added antibacterial power. Lemon rinds work well too. This is about improvisation, folks. Using what you have available to stay clean and healthy. Remember, in a survival situation, resourcefulness is key. Now let's talk about keeping your living space clean. A clean camp is a healthy camp. Remember, bacteria and viruses love nothing more than a dirty, damp environment to multiply in. One of the most effective cleaning agents you can have in your arsenal is vinegar. Mix it with water to create a simple all-purpose cleaner. Use it to wipe down surfaces, clean your hands, even wash your dishes. The acidic nature of vinegar helps to neutralize odors and kill bacteria. Baking soda is another powerhouse ingredient. It's a natural deodorizer, so sprinkle it on carpets, mattresses, or even your body to absorb moisture and neutralize odors. You can also mix it with water to create a paste for scrubbing stubborn stains. And don't underestimate the power of good old-fashioned sunshine. Hang your clothes and bedding out in the sun to air dry and kill bacteria. The UV rays from the sun act as a natural disinfectant. Remember, staying clean in a survival situation is an ongoing battle, but with a little ingenuity and resourcefulness, you can create a healthy and hygienic living environment, even in the most challenging of circumstances. And trust me, your nose will thank you for it. Right, we've covered the basics of personal hygiene, but in a survival situation, your camp is an extension of yourself. You've got to be just as ruthless about cleanliness in your surroundings or you're inviting trouble. First rule, designated waste area. Bury it deep away from your water sources and living space. Mark it clearly. This ain't the time for accidents, people. Second, a dedicated hygiene zone. This is where you wash yourself, your clothes, and your cooking gear. Keep it separate from everything else. Contamination is your enemy, and we fight back with order and discipline. Water's a precious resource after the collapse, so learn to conserve it. Grey water, the stuff you use for washing, that's separate from the black water, which is your waste. Don't mix them. And for God's sake, wash your hands before you touch any food. You wouldn't believe the number of people laid low by a simple thing like dirty hands. We're talking life or death here, people. The little things add up. Cleanliness isn't about being fussy, it's about stacking the odds in your favor. Look, in a real survival situation, you won't have the luxury of popping down to the shops for cleaning supplies. You need to think ahead. Be resourceful and improvise, but some things are worth their weight in gold when it comes to sanitation. Bleach tablets, for instance. These are your best friend for purifying water and disinfecting surfaces. A few drops in your water bottle could save your life. Then you've got alcohol wipes. Another essential item for quick clean-ups and wound care. And trust me, when the grid's down, you'll be surprised how easily a small cut can turn nasty. Disposable gloves are another must-have. Handling contaminated materials? Gloves. Treating someone else's wounds? Gloves. protecting yourself from God knows what in the waste pit. You guessed it, gloves, trash bags. You can never have too many. Seriously, stock up on these like there's no tomorrow. And finally, something most people don't think about: lye or hydrated lime. Grim, I know, but in a long-term collapse you might need to deal with more than just waste. These are for sanitation worst-case scenario. Trust me, you'd rather have it and not need it than the other way around. And remember, anything you use for cleaning, whether it's cloths, rags, or even paper towels, make sure they can be burned or buried safely afterwards. We're minimizing contamination every step of the way. Essentials for the long haul. All right, let's talk survival kits. Everyone's got one, but most folks forget the most important part: staying clean. First off, soap. I'm talking 3 bars per person per year, minimum. And not that fancy stuff with the perfumes and whatnot. Simple, effective soap. Next, toothbrushes. 3 per person again. Why 3? Because you'll lose one, break another, and trust me, you'll want that spare. Vinegar. A gallon jug of this stuff is like liquid gold. Cleaning, disinfecting, even a splash in your water can help kill bacteria. Believe me, in a survival situation, vinegar is your new best friend. Then there's baking soda. Another multi-purpose wonder. Cleaning, deodorizing, even brushing your teeth in a pinch. Stock up on this stuff, like seriously massive bags of it. Heavy-duty garbage bags. We've talked about these. You can never have enough. Microfiber cloths. 2 per person minimum. They dry fast and are great for everything from washing to cleaning. A compact towel. It'll dry quicker than a regular towel and takes up less space. Lice comb. Trust me, you don't want to be caught with head lice in a collapse. And finally, razor blades. For shaving, obviously, but also for cutting, cleaning wounds, and 100 other uses. Now, your bug-out bag is your lifeline when you need to move fast. You can't carry everything, so you've got to prioritize. A travel toothbrush is a must, small, lightweight, and essential for keeping those pearly whites clean. Next, a mini soap sliver. Cut a chunk off your main bar and store it in a waterproof container. Every little bit helps. Alcohol wipes. Again, these are crucial for on-the-go cleaning and disinfection. A small pack will do the trick. 1 pair of latex gloves. You never know what you might encounter, so it's always best to be prepared. Trust me, it's better to be safe than sorry. And finally, a tiny dropper bottle of bleach or iodine. This is your last line of defense for purifying water when you're on the move. A few drops in a liter of water could mean the difference between staying hydrated and getting violently ill. Remember, in a survival situation, hygiene isn't about being squeamish. It's about survival. It's about staying healthy, strong, and 1 step ahead of the threats that are invisible to the naked eye. We like to think we're civilized, that we're above the laws of nature. But out here in the wild, the truth is a lot more brutal. When the grid goes down, when the supermarkets are empty and the hospitals are overflowing, you won't get a second chance. You won't get a doctor, a prescription, or a hospital bed. Your survival will come down to the basics, the things we take for granted every single day. Will you be prepared? Will you have the knowledge and the tools to keep yourself and your loved ones clean? When everything falls apart, your survival will come down to this. Will your hands be clean, or will your grave come early? As we've seen today, when everything breaks down, the line between life and death can be as simple as keeping clean. Remember, it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving, even in the face of chaos. You have the knowledge now, but knowledge without action is just a plan waiting to fail. Start preparing today and ensure you and your loved ones remain safe. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell to stay updated with all our latest content. Every tip could be the one that saves a life, maybe even yours. Don't forget to follow us on all our social platforms at Prepper's Edge. Together we'll stay ready and we'll stay safe.